Ferrari are arguably the biggest disappointment for me so far in 2023, and it turns out that the Scuderia team were as much as 7/10 slower per lap in Jeddah this year than they were last year. Have Ferrari got slower? What's going on? Well, first of all, it's obvious that Red Bull have made big gains, but I'm not comparing Ferrari directly to Red Bull, we're actually just comparing them to themselves, and for some reason, Ferrari are really struggling, way more than they were last year. At the end of last season, Ferrari did go backwards in terms of performance. Perhaps the technical directive that came into play in the mid-season affected them, but they claim it didn't. We know that it was widely reported they had engine-related issues and had to run their engines on lower power to avoid failures. It also seems that those engine issues are not completely solved this year, as Charles Leclerc had to take his first engine penalty in the second race at Jeddah, after going through 2 control electronics in one weekend. We have no idea if Ferrari are having to run their engines in lower power again, they say they're not, but honestly it seems like the car is more of the issue this time around. After Jeddah, Charles Leclerc was pretty downbeat. Today, we didn't have the pace to do anything better. There wasn't much more to the car. The whole Ferrari camp actually sound pretty down, and maybe they should be. In the race, both Ferraris ended up finishing behind both Mercedes, and we know the W14 has been highly criticised, even from within the team, and they're actually completely overhauling that car, essentially scrapping it. Admittedly, Charles Leclerc did get past Lewis Hamilton earlier in the race, but they were on different tyres, with Charles on the soft and Lewis on the hard. And then after jumping him at the stop, Lewis was actually able to get past Sainz as well, using those medium tyres. Ferrari just didn't seem to be very comfortable on the hard tyres at all. Carlos Sainz had this to say: "The last stint on hard shows us that we are not where we want to be. Our tyre wear is even greater than that of the Mercedes or Aston Martin." Ferrari do have updates coming though. In fact, they have small updates coming up most of the upcoming races, including Melbourne, but these are small updates, and the issue according to Frederic Vasseur is that they just can't get the most out of the car's potential, and they're not quite sure why. He said, "We have some updates for Australia, but the biggest problem is we can't extract the maximum potential from the car." He seems to suggest that they can get more out of the car by just understanding it better, and well, that sounds a lot like Mercedes from last year, doesn't it? How has a team that came out with a fantastic concept last year gone in the wrong direction and ended up behind a team who got it wrong last year and are still getting it wrong this year? How does that even happen? What's certain though is that they do have the same problem they had last year, but worse. The car is good in qualifying, but they just can't keep up in the race, with the car burning through its tyres. Before his penalty, Charles Leclerc had qualified 4th, only 3/10 behind Max on pole position, so the car does have pace. Vasseur said, "I'm not going to push on the positives, because the weekend's outcome is not positive, and we have to focus on what did not work well. But I have to keep in mind that the qualifying went well. At least we were ahead of Aston Martin and Mercedes." Well, that's all well and good, Frederic, but you're not ahead of them at the end of the races, and that's the problem. It doesn't look like there's going to be any changes of concept for Ferrari though, at least not this season. Michael Schmidt from AMUS said, "Ferrari would also come into conflict with the budget cap, because all the developments are already planned and are in production. Vasseur has already indicated that practically every race something new is coming. So everything is planned until the summer break. For next year, Ferrari will have to think about another concept if there are no improvements. Every concept has a certain potential, and the longer you work with it, you know its limit." Considering Ferrari had such a good car last year and a really solid base, and considering numerous teams have kind of followed their design concepts, I'm not sure how they've strayed so far away by falling behind even Mercedes in the race, who are already really unhappy with their car. They're going to have to hope that they can get on top of their issues in the next few races, or they're going to have to make some hard decisions, just like Mercedes have. In 2024, are we going to see Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull looking very similar? We'll have to wait and see. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe, and why not check out a few of these other ones? And I'll see you next time.